Hello everybody! We are back again today live from the Coastal Seafoods Kitchen. My name is Kian and we're going to take care of a few things today. So give a few seconds for a few people to join us and log in. But we've got some good things that we're cooking up today. So definitely come on, get with us, especially if you're at home hanging out. We've got some cool stuff to cover. So yeah. First and foremost, thank you so much for the response to our announcements yesterday about our online orders and curbside pickups and delivery. It was huge and tremendous, and it's been really great. The support that you've been giving our store has been outstanding, and we really sincerely appreciate it. All of the staff is overwhelmed with how receptive everybody has been, and it's great. So really appreciate that. And a couple bits of update news. You may have seen this morning we posted, we did get our senior discount available for online orders. Took a little work, but we got it done. So now you can go, if you are a senior, that's 55 plus, or a veteran, you can go to our website today and get the regular Tuesday 20% off discount using the checkout code SENIORVET. So again, if you're a senior, 55 plus, or veteran, you can still get that Tuesday discount, Senior Vet, at the checkout, and that will apply. And that's for deliveries or pickup. So you can have that order delivered to you, or you can come and pick it up at either location, if you like, Minneapolis or St. Paul. In terms of pickups, one thing we want to kind of clarify is, if you do place your order online, you come to pick it up, we will get to you and take care of you. It doesn't necessarily mean you can go right to the front of the line. We're doing our best to take care of our customers, both online orders and there. So we've got kind of a system going that we're working. We'll take care of you as soon as we can, but we're working through the lines. So just be patient with us. This is new. We're trying to make this work for everybody, and so far it's been great. Response has been super positive, so we really appreciate that. Again, thank you so much for all of your patience and working with us on this as we kind of all work to get through this together. Again, we want to make sure you have access to all these nice healthy proteins that you're used to, and make sure that they're available for you. But we just need to make sure that we keep things orderly, and again, so far so good. So thanks for tuning in. That's just kind of the bit of house cleaning news. I'm sure we'll have more updates and things as the week goes on. But for now, let's do some cooking. So as you may be aware, today is St. Patrick's Day. So we're gonna do a fun little kind of riff with some fun Irish flavors today. You may have seen in the post, I am going to do a charred and braised cabbage along with a pan roasted cod and a nice whiskey butter sauce. This is very easy to do. We've got this really nice Icelandic cod here today. This is an MS certified cod. I've got like a nice little tail piece that I got from the store. So I'm gonna use this, but very, very nice. And again, like I said, this is pretty easy. So I got a head of cabbage here, which I went ahead and cleaned and quartered already just because it was a massive head of cabbage, so I figured this would just be a little bit easier to work with. I'm gonna get my heat going in my pan because I do want this to be hot. And I got my canister reloaded, so we should be good today and not have any technical difficulties in terms of my pan shutting off. So if you watched yesterday, that we kind of had a little bit of an error there. But so while this is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and slice this. I'm going to get rid of the kind of this end piece, and I'm going to slice this into strips. For this dish, I want the cabbage to almost act like noodles. So I'm going to go ahead and just slice this, I don't know, about 1/4 inch thick strips. Again, pretty simple. I've got my end piece. I did keep one of the leaves, which I will use at the end for just kind of a presentation thing. Should be fun to do. But I'm going to go ahead and break this cabbage up a bit, and I'm going to throw this into my pan straight like this. No oil or any fat, because I want to kind of get a little bit of a char on the cabbage and start to develop a little bit of that charred, earthy flavor. That'll be really nice with the fish. And then after that gets going, I'm going to go ahead and braise it down with a little stock. So for the time being, I'm going to put all my cabbage scraps kind of here. And while that is going, I'm going to prepare my onion. Now remember, if you have questions or anything, feel free to hit me up. I've got my other phone right here. so I'm able to monitor and pay attention to what's going on in the feed. So this should be a lot of fun. And again, hit us up. Any cooking questions, comments you have. The whole point here this week, what we're trying to do is just give a little calm space for people to just hang out with us while we do some cooking and talk about food, whether it's seafood related or not. You could certainly do this dish with pork. That would be totally fine. But by and large, we just want to kind of cook and hang out for a little while, give you some ideas if you're stuck at home hanging out. And this is a great one. Again, this is very easy. Again, that cabbage is already starting to char up a little bit. So I want to thinly slice this onion because, again, I want this to act almost like noodles. If you wanted to, you could cut the root off and go sideways and cut it in a little bit of thicker chunks. If that's how you like it, that's totally fine. But I like mine to be pretty thin for this kind of thing. So just sort of like this. This is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my cabbage mixture. Again, very simply. It already is smelling good in here. That charring cabbage smells awesome. If you've never used a technique like this, I know it seems a little maybe counterintuitive since we are actually trying to almost burn that cabbage a little bit. But trust me, this is a great way to develop some very interesting, big flavors out of a pretty cost-effective ingredient. The whole cabbage that I got today was under $2, and that will last me a while. So again, cabbage is a great thing to have. There's a lot of things that you can do with it, and I highly recommend that you do. So I'm already starting to get a little bit of color on this cabbage. You can see it's starting to turn a little bit brown on the edges here, and that's exactly what I'm looking for, is this just kind of charring, and I'm going to keep tossing it so it doesn't burn too much. But again, I want it to start to brown and char up. Same with some of those onions. This is just going to create huge flavor down the line. So this is perfect to do. Again, I'm already getting these just amazing smells. That cabbage comes off very nice and nutty. It's super beautiful. And while that's going, I'm going to take care of some of my scrap here. Get this out of the way. It's always good to keep clean if you can. You know, tidy up as you go. When you're doing something like this, taking it in steps, it's perfect. So just a little tip. Again, we got some nice movement here. That cabbage is actually starting to wilt off a little bit, which is also good. We want some of that moisture in there to cook out as well. And as soon as those onions start to soften just a little bit and wilt down, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of chicken stock. So this is looking really nice. Again, that cabbage. Let me show you a little bit more up close here. I'll get a nice little piece. Bring it to the camera to show you. Got that nice kind of caramelized edging that's starting on that cabbage. That's exactly what we're looking for. So when you're doing this, keep an eye on that. And you want to make sure at least most of the cabbage has kind of got that. Again, we're not looking to get this blackened or anything like that. We just want it kind of to start to caramelize and go. Those onions are starting to soften and they're starting to get pretty aromatic. Again, the smell in here is pretty phenomenal. It's hard to really capture that if you've never done this charred cabbage like this. But again, it's such a great technique. It's going to provide such great flavor too. Again, this is going to give us that nuttiness, and it's going to be very pronounced, which is what we want. Again, this is coming along very nicely. And I'm just kind of keeping it moving a little bit. You don't have to do it too much. Again, let it sit for a minute or two. Let that kind of do its thing in the pan, then give it a few tosses, and you're good to go. Again, very, very simple. And remember, if you have questions, definitely feel free to ask. Now is the time. Put it right there in the chat. I am watching right here on this backup phone that I have. So again, I can monitor, watch, and help you out if there's anything you want to know. Now today I am using cod for this, just in the St. Patty's Day spirit, but what would also work really well is salmon. I noticed that our good friend Joe Emerson from Shoreline Wild is watching, so thanks for that, Joe. Shoreline Wild, you all know and love the salmon, which is great, and this would work very, very well. The same exact technique with salmon if you wanted to. In fact, a lot of fish would be really great here. We do have the cod on feature today, which is cool. So if you were looking for that, today would be the day. Remember, you can do all your ordering online. You go to coastalseafoods.com, click the online order button, and you can place that. And we've had a lot of questions in regard to that, whether that's just for delivery, and it is not. You can place those orders for pickup, and that would be totally fine. So I'm getting to a good point here where I like it. I still got some nice, beautiful green color, but there's also some beautiful brown caramelization starting to happen. So let's see if I can kind of show you here what I'm looking at. You can see there, it's kind of a mix. This is great. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now, if you don't have cabbage, this would work really well with Brussels sprouts, the same exact technique. So definitely, I recommend giving that a try. You could shave the Brussels sprouts, or you could even do them just in regular halves. That would be fine. So now that this has gotten to where I want, now I'm going to add my fat, which I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil here. And you can hear it start to sizzle as soon as it hits the pan. Not too much. Now remember, we've got the small 1 liter bottles of these, cans of these, that we are giving away for free right now with all orders over $50. So definitely do that. We will send you the olive oil. So there we go. Now I got some great action going on here. Beautiful. And at this time, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of salt as well. Just a touch here. Start my seasoning now. And now that this is working, I mean, you could eat this just like this. This would be gorgeous. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to braise it down a little bit using just a touch of chicken stock. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to deglaze my pan a little bit. Now that this is all nice and coated in oil and that browning is continuing, I'm going to hit it with a little rice wine vinegar. And this is just going to brighten things up a little bit, give us a little bit of that sweet and sour cabbage flavor that works really well together. So there we go. This is beautiful. Again, I cannot stress how good this smells right now. So I'm going to go ahead, now that I've done that, this pan is hot, so that vinegar cooked off pretty darn quickly, which is good. Again, that's what we want. Now I'm going to add just, again, a bit of chicken stock here. Just enough to kind of cover the bottom of my pan. I'm going to mix this all in together. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back here on the stove behind me on low heat. And I'm just going to let that sort of simmer and braise. Again, I'm going to keep this on low heat and just let this go while we do our fish. So I got my burner going. I'm going to turn that down just a touch. So for the fish, what I'm going to do is a great technique for all kinds of seafood or different fish. Again, you could do this with a lot of different things, but today I'm going to do this with the cod. So what I've got here is I've got a plate. I'm going to add a little bit of flour to the plate. This is just regular all-purpose flour, nothing special. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt here. So we want to make sure we season this. We're going to dredge the fish with this. And we're not going to season the fish directly, because again, it's going to go drag through here. So I'm just going to kind of toss this together a little bit so it's kind of mixed up. And then I'm going to take my fish like so, and I'm just going to dredge it. This is already skin off, so I'm just going to dredge it, kind of pat it down in the flour. Make sure you get all of it, even the little tail pieces that might want to be a little difficult. So I'm just going to lightly dredge this in flour. Pretty simple. And now what I'm going to do is So I'm going to add a bit more oil to my pan. Just a couple tablespoons worth. And I'm going to pan roast this. So what we're looking for is kind of like what we did yesterday. Again, I just want to get a nice color on this fish. You also want to make sure that you kind of shake it a little bit, get off any excess flour. And just like we talked about yesterday, and like we always talk about, when you're putting fish into a pan, set it down gently and lay it away from you. I'm already kind of getting a little bit of that sizzling, which is what I want. Turn up my heat just a little bit. You can hear it starting to go. Again, this is exactly what we're looking for here. And we just want to get a nice golden brown crust on that. So while that's going, I'm going to prepare my garnish a little bit. I'm just going to cut this cabbage down the middle, just so we can kind of use it to plate on. And I'm going to check my cabbage. Looks like it's doing pretty well back here. It's grazing away. I've got that stock on. The cabbage is getting nice and tender, which again is exactly what we want. And it just looks beautiful. The purple onion, the green cabbage, that charredness. Just give you a little bit of a peek there again. Looking really nice. Again, this braised cabbage is going to go super well with that cod. And again, we're looking for some nice kind of Irish flavor here. So doing pretty well. This cod is starting to cook away. Again, I've just got a little bit of a tail piece here that we just kind of had in our case. So it's a little bit thinner than some cod that you'll see. So if what you've got is a little bit thicker, especially if you're using like a cod loin, you'll want to do this on both sides and then maybe finish it in the oven. That's totally fine. Put it in, if that's the case, put it in for 5 minutes at 450 or so. That should cook it all the way through. And we're just looking, what I'm doing right now is I'm just checking the edges for any browning. That's what we want to see. When those edges start to show browning, you know that the fish on the bottom side is also going to have it. So again, pay attention, watch pretty closely. And yeah, again, this is a very thin piece of fish, so it's going to cook up pretty darn fast. And while that goes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my onion, and I'm going to mince up just a little bit of this for the sauce. So what I'm going to do is just make some cuts here, like so. Now when you're cutting onions like this, remember, claw shape on the hand. You don't want to cut your fingers, so you keep them out of the way as best as possible. So I've got just a few onions here. I'm going to run through, give them another little rough chop. So I want these pretty fine. There we go. Now our fish is starting to look pretty good here. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a little peek test. See where we're at. Looking pretty nice. I'm going to give it just like another minute or so, and then check back on it, see where we're at. Again, if you have any questions on this, definitely leave them in the comments. We will address those the best we can. Right now we are cooking away. I've got some cabbage braising back here. I'm just trying to reduce this stock out. So yeah, I'm going to give it just a touch more heat here. I want that stock to kind of evaporate away. And what we're going to be left with is a nice, kind of sticky, sweet cabbage. It's got a real kind of depth of flavor from that charring that we gave it just a few minutes ago. So, again, perfect. So let's take a look what I'm looking at here. This is great. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a flip, if I can get it. Ah! There we go. Perfect. And you can see that flour gave us that nice crust on the top of the fish. So you've got this beautiful kind of golden brown thing developing. I'm going to take it out of the pan a little bit so you can see. This is the way you want that fish to look. Let's get it out of the glare if we can. Sometimes that's kind of hard. But you can see it's got that nice beautiful golden brown. Again, exactly what we're looking for. We want to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to kind of let this go and finish off. Again, this cabbage is starting to look real good here. That stock is reducing away nicely, which is, again, exactly what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. This fish here, looking nice, looking nice, looking nice. And again, when you're cooking fish, about 2/3 of the way through you're going to cook basically on the one side. That's exactly what we want to do. And then just finish it on the bottom side. So this one's looking pretty done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and remove my fish from the plate. Check, should be nice and wanting to flake. So I'm just going to kind of set that off to the side for a minute. Now one thing I'm going to do is get rid of just a little bit of this extra oil that I've got in the pan. I've got just a bit more than I want. So I'm going to go ahead and add that there. And I'm going to leave enough to kind of start get these onions going. So those are going to go in my pan. Again, I'm not looking for a lot of color here. I'm just looking to sort of sweat them off nicely. And they're going to start giving off their moisture and start to deglaze the pan, which again is exactly what we want. There's a lot of flavor that comes off that fish that gets stuck to the bottom of the pan that a lot of people just leave there. But we want to make sure that we're capturing it, again, the best that we can. So those onions are going, looking nice. This cabbage, again, is getting very nice and sticky. I'll give you a quick view into the camera here again, sort of what we're looking at. You can see that stock has thickened up and we can drag our spoon through it in the bottom of the pan. Again, exactly what we want. So this is just about there. I'm going to give this just a little bit more time to sort of do its thing. And I'm going to go back to our onions. Now, what I'm going to do is the tricky part. So, what we want to do here is add, for that extra Irish flavor, we're going to add a little bit of whiskey. Now, you don't have to use this. You could use white wine, or you could build this sauce without the alcohol. But when you're adding alcohol to a pan, you want to make sure that the pan is off the heat, and you add that to it, because what you don't want is to have it flame up on you, unless you're doing it on your own, like so. That's what you want to do when you're trying to cook off alcohol. So you get a little bit of a flame show there. So now we've cooked it down. That alcohol is burned off, mostly, which again is exactly what we want to do. So now that that's the case, I'm going to turn my heat down to extra low. Well, I got to turn my heat back on because I accidentally turned it off. So I'm going to turn it down to super low here. And I'm going to start working in. I'm going to add just a touch of cream. In this case, I got a little half and half. Give that a little bit of a swirl around, pick up those onions. Then I've got my cold butter. Now, just like when we built the butter sauce a couple weeks ago, I kind of want the butter cold and the heat real low. So I'm going to add in a few tablespoons of butter here. And I want basically the warmness of the cream and that evaporated whiskey to kind of melt the butter. So I'm just going to give this a little swirl and let that kind of emulsify in naturally. If it's not hot enough, then you can go ahead and put it back on the heat. All right, so our cabbage is good. That stock is evaporated away entirely. So I'm going to take it off the heat. And then all we're going to do here is finish it off with just a little touch of lemon. So again, this whiskey cream sauce is just about done. So I'm going to go ahead, give this a little taste for seasoning. Actually, I know it's going to need a little bit of salt. So I'm going to hit it with a little bit of salt. Again, swirl that in together. Absolutely beautiful. perfect. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a taste, see where we're at. That, friends, is divine. This is so good, so full of flavor. So next thing I want to do is get my plating together. So I think for this, what I want to do is finish my cut straight through that rib. And I'm going to take my plate. I'm going to set it on here like so. Then what I want to do is take just a little bit of my lemon. Cut those seeds out because these are very seedy lemons. And I'm going to finish this with just a hit of lemon. Again, we're just looking to kind of brighten it up on the finish there. Give this a little bit of a taste for seasoning as well. Make sure it doesn't need any more salt. Perfect. That is so good. Again, I think you are all going to like this dish a lot. And I couldn't think of a better way to go about it on St. Patrick's Day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my cabbage, just a side of leaf. Again, I'm leaving the cabbage there just as a bit of extra decorative garnish for fun. Not required, but why not? So I've got that. I'm going to take my fish and I'm going to set that right kind of on top of my cabbage, just a little bit kind of hanging off there. Perfect. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sauce, clean up my plate a little bit, and I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of this sauce over the fish, like so. You get those nice onions, you get a little bit of this like nice whiskey cream, and you got something really, really, really beautiful. I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna go ahead, cut another little lemon, again for my garnish. There we go. And what we have here is something fit for any St. Patrick's Day table. Look at that. Just beautiful, simple. Again, we got a little extraneous garnish on there with the cabbage leaf, but heck, we're having fun. So absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There we go. Now we got a question, do we deliver? Yes, but not the finished product, sorry. You gotta make it yourself, but we'll deliver the cod. So again, super beautiful, really easy to do. Cannot recommend this enough. Very, very easy. And you saw how quick, again, that kind of came together. It didn't take us a whole lot of time to work on and do, which is exactly what we want. I didn't spill the salt, which is probably a good sign. But definitely, if you make something like this, let us know, take your pictures, show it off. Again, you can leave it right in the comments, or you can tag us on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you want to do it. Well, this is a lot of fun. Again, remember, we are still open, curbside pickups only, so if you come to the store, just park, and somebody will come out and help take care of you as quickly as we possibly can. Same, you can place your order ahead online and come pick it up as well. Again, please be patient in the lines, we will get to you. Placing an order online does not move you to the front of the line when you come to the store. So again, just be patient and cool, and we will all get taken care of. So thanks so much. Again, seniors, vets, your discount is available online. At the checkout, just use discount code SeniorVet. If you have questions on that, definitely feel free to message me directly and I can help you through it. If you have seniors or veterans in your life, people, definitely share that with them. Let them know that that's a thing that is still happening. We'll probably have some more news and updates for you as the week goes on, but pay attention, stay tuned, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you much.